not everything arbitrary, is an injustice. But I think it's really inevitable that people feel a sense of injustice about this thing. So this is not couples therapy.
This is couples therapy.
We have the completely objective and unbiased therapist of the camera observing us without comment, taking notes very fastidiously, and then we can watch the video later, right? This is our second video talking about jealousy. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that jealousy is not a problem for me. And yet it's a big problem in this relationship.
Because of me.
Jealousy is not just about physical appearance. It's not just about beauty, handsomeness, etc. I used to get hate mail all the time suggesting that I was jealous of my ex-wife because she had a PhD and I didn't. Wow, you are so barking up the wrong tree right now. I've known many people who got PhDs, and I've known many people during the process of getting a PhD. And I know exactly how arbitrary those decisions are. Like, I know how arbitrary it was that my ex-wife ended up in the PhD program she did, with the supervisor she did. I know exactly how much suffering was involved in the process of her getting the PhD. I know kind of exactly how little educational content there was, or how poor, how low quality her educational experience was. I know how disappointed she was, at various stages of that. And, it was this Cambridge University, England. And I know at the end of it, she had this sense of shame with the contrast between the public expectation of what it means to have a PhD from Cambridge University and the reality of what her experience was. And now, beyond that, again, she's not unique. I've known many people in many different fields with this kind of experience, mutatis mutandis, and I've seen how they cope with it psychologically and so on. Being excluded from certain opportunities arbitrarily, it's sad. I mean, I can look at how arbitrary it was that I didn't have better opportunities, mostly just because I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm not a German citizen or a French citizen or a British citizen or even an American citizen. I'm a prisoner of my passport, especially when it comes to academic opportunities. But when I look at that, I can just feel sad about it, right? I don't feel jealousy, and I can look at the experience that my ex-wife had, or many other people I knew who went through PhD programs. I can look at the experiences they had. I can feel happy for them. I mean, it's very rare that they had a positive experience, but when they had a great experience, they had a PhD and they're really happy about it, I can feel happy for them. And, on the other hand, of course, more often, I can feel sad for them also. I can really relate to what it was they were struggling with before, after, and during getting that PhD, the kind of crushing disappointment. Not everything arbitrary, is an injustice. But I think it's really inevitable that people feel a sense of injustice about this thing. Honestly, I don't think it's your main problem. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. I worked in an office at a government job in Laos. I worked for the Laotian government. It's a communist country, so the majority of people around me are Communist Party officials. And there was one woman, a white woman from Australia, who was there in the same office, and her salary was being paid by an Australian charity. And she was such a sour and bitter character, and it was illegal, but she was sleeping with a Laotian guy. She had a love affair with which is illegal, by the way. Yeah, at that time, I doubt they've changed the law. It was illegal for a foreigner to have romance with a local person. And a lot of people were breaking those laws, of course. But it was a very interesting kind of dance, because then once you're breaking that law, the authorities know they can extort you, they can blackmail you, they can ask for, they can say, well, if you don't want us to charge you with this,
So when you were in Laos, if you would have started a romance with anybody?
Yes, that's right. Right.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this woman was having
an
illegal love affair with...
Yeah, right.
Yeah. With a Laotian person.
Yeah, and she was just such a really vicious and jealous person. Jealousy was the room. And she was jealous of me. That was ultimately the drama that tore apart the work situation. She was jealous of me because she imagined I was making way more money than she was, and I wasn't. Yeah. So she's this vindictive, horrible, jealous character.
Yeah.
And then one day, her sister came to visit.
Mm-hmm.
And her sister was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And right when she walks into the office,
did it all make sense then?
No, but even when her sister was so good looking,
she's got this inner rage because of the injustice.
Right. The arbitrariness.
Her sister was born attractive,
you
and
got,
she wasn't.
You got the good DNA, and I didn't, and it's arbitrary, right?
Yeah. Right.
And it's not random, but it's arbitrary. And, her sister wasn't wearing a fancy outfit or anything. Her sister was wearing dumpy backpack. I think she literally had a backpack on and blue jeans. Yeah. From the minute her sister walks into the room, everyone, men and women, it was a big office, big government office. Everyone stands up and turns around and is looking at this woman as she walks through the room. She's striking. She's
that beautiful.
Whoa. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, I'd seen a lot of white people walk into not everybody gets that reaction.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's men and women. We'd seen different people walk in. So this was, so what? I mean, one of them was lucky and one of them was unlucky in that respect, right?
Yeah.
Now,
But it's not a good look. It ain't cute to be the jealous type.
Right.
And I know that. Even before I got together with you, I had a lot of experience with a jealous partner.
Yeah.
And being also a jealous partner, even though it's not like there were women knocking on my ex-boyfriend's door, but, there were incidents, and also he tried to basically prevent me from having any close friends, any close male friends, which for me was hard because I have always just gravitated more towards having male friends, and I think it's just because I grew up with brothers. So basically, once I got to university and I started this relationship,
all your friends had
all
more
my
guys.
Friends were men, so I had no friends.
I kind of forgot that about you, but no, that's true. That's also part of your current situation, was that it was harder for you to have female friends than male friends. Yeah, go on.
This is true.
Which may also be because of jealousy. A lot of women.
Yeah,
the problem is
I
also
think
jealousy.
that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot that this is a huge problem for me. So there's a lot to talk about.
Okay, wait, I want to poke in one more definition. If your sister is gorgeous, that doesn't take anything away from you, right?
No.
That's the mysterious part. Is she didn't subtract something from me, right? Like when you're competing over finite resources, there's only the budget. Okay, we're at a university. There's only so much budget for research, and now we're going to decide how much money goes to this person, how much money goes to that person, how we're going to cut the pie. Some things are finite. Oh, well, because of you, I have less. That's different. It doesn't take anything away from me for her to be more beautiful, right?
No.
My ex-wife's education, PhD, it doesn't take anything away from me for her to succeed, for her to have that PhD, right? So again, what is jealousy? One way to look at it is misapprehending everything arbitrary as an injustice, but then two, maybe on a really childish level of the brain, misapprehending the fact that you have something as being the reason for me lacking it, or me having less than I could have, in some sense. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Part of why I struggle with this is because I know how shallow and selfish it is of me to even be jealous of other people. And you've mentioned this being a problem for me, not being able to just be happy for you.
Yeah.
This is our version of couples therapy, so I'm going to talk about it in a way that is just down to earth, what actually happens. I want you to have friends. I want you to talk to people. And you're honest with me when you do meet somebody that or not meet somebody, but with how the internet is, you can
start talking to somebody.
You can start talking to somebody in some manner
Yep.
or another. And you always tell me, and I know you're a virtuous, good person, and you're honest with me. You tell me, and I have no reason to like be worried because we've talked this through so much. But when you told me that you had been messaging an attractive young woman, I couldn't stop this feeling, even though it's like something I rationalized so much and we've talked about so often, and it's so often that I'm like embarrassed.
Right.
And you say
that's happened throughout the relationship.
Yeah.
Including at the very beginning, and including when I'm talking to someone I've already known for years, like someone I knew before we started dating and stuff. Just to give a little bit of context.
I don't know how much of this is going to replace the recording that we made yesterday, or if it's just going to be a new video.
Yeah, it's a new video.
But you mentioned using philosophy as a way to get better or, become more virtuous. And I really do want to, but you are also telling the truth when you say that I lack virtues. I say that I have virtues that I don't actually have. I'm able to talk about these things in a down-to-earth way with you, and I'm able to think about jealousy and what it really is.
Right.
But then there's some kind of disconnect with
there's
emotion,
the actual feeling, there's the actual reaction.
Versus, emotion and reaction versus being able to think about it philosophically. And you mentioned, this verges on the point of being psychopathy, being something that is some kind of mental disorder. And I do wonder, because my first introduction of knowing about jealousy in my family is my grandmother. She was a very, very jealous person. She was married to her husband, who was my grandfather, and he would work at the Ford Motor Company, Ford plant, and she wouldn't allow him to go out to lunch with his coworkers.
I've heard a lot about this grandmother. That particular thing I've gone,
She didn't want him to go to a diner and see a pretty waitress and be thinking about the pretty waitress. So she would, pack a lunch for him, and he would.
So she insisted that he eat in the factory.
Yeah, whether he obeyed or not, she didn't know. I mean, I don't know. He probably did go out to dinner, but this was in a time that my father was growing up when televisions were becoming everywhere, every home. But she refused to have a boob tube in the house because she didn't want her husband seeing beautiful women on television, and also even like things that seem so one of the soft core, or like Kohl's catalogs, or like catalogs for
I was told she'd go through the junk mail and she'd destroy anything that had a picture of a model.
Yeah, because there are advertisements for women selling bras.
She'd go through the TV guide and take out pictures of beautiful women and stuff.
Yeah. So she was really
her life was consumed this way.
Yes.
I knew. So one of my ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Her mother was a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And as their marriage progressed, her father would not let her mother work because of basically the kind of flirtation and casual socializing that happens at a hospital.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that was more jealousy towards the patients or towards the other members of staff, like doctors and male nurses or whatever. But that to me, at the time, that was kind of an unbelievably shocking and extreme form of jealousy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, even if it results in the whole family being significantly poor, to ask her to cancel her career. And she really had nothing to do. Anyway,
Well, I think you're right too. Like, if I took a videotape of some of the things that I've said to you, or like the way that I've reacted, I would be really shocked and say, like, this is somebody who's like filled with rage over like something over insignificant and nothing.
So I think we should go back to that. So real quickly. Yeah. So you said a little bit vaguely, I start talking to someone on the internet who's an attractive woman, right?
Yeah.
And again, throughout the relationship as a whole, this is someone who's included people I've already known for years, but it can be someone I'm meeting for the first time or whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I'm meeting them because they're attractive, by the way, what have you. and sometimes it's completely your imagination. Sometimes you have no idea what the person looks like, even most of the time. You just know, like, I mean, no, I'm sorry, but we're not gonna. I know situations where you literally you have, like, all you know is a screen name. You know, like, you just know this is a female who is talking to me, or that I'm talking to, right? So, and then, I mean, I think you said kind of really vaguely that you react jealously, but, like, that's included you like screaming at me, like screaming at the top of your, her voice isn't that loud, but screaming as loud as you can scream. It's included, like, hysterical weeping and, like, really being that wound up.
I've become crazy bitch Melissa, like, crazy. And I'm sincere about that. Like, I realize and recognize that this is a problem, and it's been a problem